Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. I'm glad everybody could join us for the show. We've got a lot happening today. Today, we're going to be diving into how to get your business listed correctly. And I'm glad that everybody was able to find us okay, because I actually had a misprint. I sent out a notice stating that this was going to be about an hour later than it actually was taking place. But I actually have another show at 3 o'clock Eastern time. So I'm here a little bit early. So if you are here live, I'm glad you made it, because again, my apologies on sending out the wrong notice initially that this was going to be at 3. So I'm glad you made it. So today's going to be an important day, because we're going to be diving into how to get your business listed correctly to meet credit issuer and lender credibility approval standards. Now, this really is important, and I don't make an understatement here where I say or get denied when you apply, because what we're going to be diving into today is looked at two ways by lenders and credit issuers. First, they look at this manually. And second, they look at this also through their spiders, through their computers. So when you submit applications, this is getting you kind of into the head of lenders and credit issuers. You might often wonder, what are they looking for when they're applying? Well, these are part of the things they're looking for. They're looking to make sure that you have a credible business. And for your business to be set up credibly, a large part that comes down to where they can find information about your business. If you're listed in the right directories, you have a good chance of getting approved. If you're not, then it creates all kinds of skepticism and questions in their mind because you're not listed in some of the most basic of directories out there. But this is also going to be powerful today, because knowing these directories, you're going to learn a lot of free places that you can advertise your business, where again, it's free, it costs you nothing, but yet a lot of people are going there looking for possibly what you have. So it's almost like killing two birds with one stone. You're getting free advertising as well as meeting credit issuer and lender standards. Before we dive in, let me introduce myself. My name is Ty Crandall. I'm the CEO here at Credit Suite. You're not going to be sold anything today. There's no kind of pitch. This is just about 35 minutes of just straight information about getting your business listed. If you ever do want to build your business credit with us, get financing with us, or offer business credit and financing as a service, feel free to get in touch with us. There's our number, 877-600-2487. Our website is creditsuite.com. That's SUITE, creditsuite.com. And you can email us at info@creditsuite.com. And also, don't forget to grab your free guide. We have a great, cool guide that gives you the 4 steps of building your business credit, really maps them out in depth. And that's available at creditsuite.com/EIN. That's creditsuite, SUITE.com/EIN. That is the only kind of pitch that you'll hear from me today. Hopefully, if you're on the webinar or show, you already know who I am. I've got about 16 years of financial experience, deal with probably, I think, the largest business credit building operation in the United States at this point, helping about 10,000 people at this point in the last few years build business credit. So I know a lot about the topic of how to get credit and financing, and that's what I'm really, really excited to be able to share with you today. So enough about me. Let's get started. So lenders and credit issuers. Lenders and credit issuers do all this kind of research on your company before they will lend you money or issue you credit. Now, some of this happens automatically. Some of this happens manually from them actually looking at or actually going in and having an individual do research on your company. So based on this research, they'll either approve you for new credit or money, or they'll just simply deny you based on what they find or what they don't find. So because of this, it's really essential that you have your business listed the right way and in the right places to get approved. And we're going to talk about both of these, because these are two separate things. Having your business listed the right way and in the right places. So we're going to be diving into both of those today. Now, today's lending environment, a lot of credit issuers and lenders will issue you automatic approvals. So what this automatically means is this. It means there's nobody manually looking at the application. And you've probably had this happen before. You went online and applied for a credit card, and boom, they said, boom, you're approved instantly. Well, how does this happen? Well, it happens because they're approving you through these algorithms that get data from a lot of different places, and they get it very quickly. And some of the stuff we're going to be diving into today is exactly what they're going to get. They're sending out spiders to get this data about you and bring it into the system. And then based on whether you meet their criteria or not, whether you meet this checklist they have, determines whether you're approved or not. So this happens when their computers check your information, and again, you meet the criteria. If so, that's how you get approved. And if you don't meet that criteria, they'll often deny you or forward your information for a manual approval. And you've probably had this happen before too. Hopefully you haven't, but you probably have, where, instead of getting an instant approval, you get a, hey, we'll contact you by mail. That's like the approval killer right there. When you try to apply for a credit card and they say, well, we're going to give you your notice by mail, that usually means you're denied. But in a lot of cases, before they deny you, they'll even run that by somebody or send that application to somebody to manually review it and make the final decision. So by knowing and meeting this approval standards, then you stand the best chance of automatically getting approved. And that's the goal here. The goal when you're applying for credit is to automatically get approved, where you don't have to have a manual review, where the computer system goes, okay, in order for approval to take place, we need all of these things checked. And here we go. Check, 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 check. Boom, approved. That's your ultimate goal, is for it to never get pushed to a manual person, because the manual person at that point, in often cases, you're already pretty much declined, and you don't want that to happen. So one thing you must be sure of is that all of your company information that you have is exactly the same, that it's congruent across all of your documentation. This means that your business essentials should be the same no matter where someone looks for you. If they look for you on the yellow pages, they find the same information that they're going to find in the corporation documents. Okay, this congruency is essential. So some items you should be sure are congruent are all these things listed here. Your business name, for example, must be the same across all of your documents. Now, this might seem obvious, but it's not obvious, because a lot of people have DBAs. A lot of people will choose to put their company in one place, one way, and then they list incorporated behind it in other places. You can't do that. So for example, we are Credit Suite Incorporated. So that means that all of our documents need to reflect Credit Suite INC. If we put Credit Suite on some and Credit Suite Incorporated on others, there is a difference. This makes it tougher for credit issuers and lenders to actually find our information. If our information, well, I'll give you another example. We have maybe another brand out there that's whatever, maybe finance or a funding suite. Okay, so let's say another brand of ours is funding suite. Well, if we're applying for business and we have a DBA funding suite, then we would need to make sure that our name, Credit Suite Incorporated, DBA funding suite, is on all the applications. It needs to be congruent. So if you have a DBA and you list your DBA, it needs to be listed everywhere. If you are incorporated after your name, it needs to be listed the same everywhere. The same as your business address. Now, this actually is a big difference, because the problem is with a business address, a lot of people, for example, work from home. They go get their corporation papers. Now they have a home address on their corporation. Then they get a business address and start putting it everywhere. Well, that's a problem, because now what's going to happen is the lender's going to see that you have a home address on the corporation papers and something different everywhere else. So if you use one address to initially get started and then change, you need to make sure that this change applies to everything, all of your bills, your bank statements, your corporation documents, everything that's out there. Your business phone number and fax number is very big deal. Your phone number is a huge deal, as you're about to learn. Making sure that that's listed in 411 is important. So you need to make sure that your main number is the number everywhere. Okay, I've actually had this problem with merchant account applications before, where they gave me a hard time because different sites had different phone numbers listed. Well, we do that for a reason, because we wanted to track where the actual leads are coming from. So we have a lot of different multiple toll-free numbers that we use for different marketing purposes. But the main stuff you have out there should all have the same phone number, the same fax number, your website, your email address. Okay, you need to make sure all your information is the same that you put out there for those. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you could only market one website. Trust me, we are the kings of having hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of websites for different purposes. But the main stuff that you put on your application, that you're putting with the Secretary of State, that you're putting especially on the official documents, needs to be exactly the same. Licenses, your EIN and DUNS number need to also, when you're going and applying for those, need to make sure that you're using the same information. Your corporation documents. So when you're going to get your EIN, when you're going to get your business incorporated, you need to make sure that all of these things are actually listed the exact same. So one of the biggest reasons people get turned down with conventional banks for funding is discrepancies with the business name, as basic as that is. They apply and don't list their name or full name, including a DBA. They don't list that incorporated after their name. There's all different kind of variations they come through with. And then the lender looks and can't find the business based on the name on that application. And the result is the lender immediately denies the application. Okay, now you can imagine what happens here. This really, really, really is what goes down. And one of the people on our team used to be one of the main business bankers at Wells Fargo. This is one of the reasons she quit right here, because she got so upset that little things were off on the application and they weren't allowed to tell the business banker what was off so they could make changes to get approved. They were not allowed. They were absolutely not permitted. They could get fired for doing so. So what she would say is that people would come in and they would have this little discrepancy. They wouldn't include their DBA. The lender would go to find the company. They couldn't find the company listed exactly the way that they had listed on the application. They would deny the application. Now, these are people that got 6 months worth of bank statements and tax returns for personal and business for years, and profit and loss statements and projected profit and loss statements and business plans. They submitted all of this documentation and they would get denied just because the very first line on the application, business name, they couldn't match to 100% certainty, so they would immediately deny the customer. And here's the worst part. They don't tell you why. They don't tell you why at all. They don't have to in the business world. So can you imagine going through getting all of this documentation that took you, 15 hours worth of work to gather, and then being turned down, and then come to find out it was just because you listed your business name incorrectly. Again, it's not only happens, it's one of the most common reasons for things getting denied, which is why it's so important that you make sure this is done correctly. Now, one of the biggest reasons other than that, the business owners get denied is especially when business credit comes to, when we're talking about business credit, because what I just mentioned really has to do a lot with business loans. Business credit, one of the biggest reasons for denial is not having your phone number listed in 411. As a matter of fact, a lot of initial credit issuers, this is all they look for. They just want to make sure you have an EIN number and a 411 listing. And if you don't, then you'll get denied immediately. So being listed with 411 and having an EIN number are two of the absolute essentials, especially when it comes to getting approved for very beginning business credit. There's a lot of things that are important. These two are essential. You have to have an EIN. You need to make sure your phone number is listed in 411. These are two things they look at as basic, legitimate points that any company has to have to get approved for initial business credit. If you don't have both, you're going to get denied. So ensure you have a phone and fax number, and that your main company phone number that you have listed with 411. Okay, this is extremely, extremely important. So your business address is something else. It's not just enough that you have your business address listed the same across all your documents. You also need to make sure it's a real physical business address, not a home address, not a PO box, not a UP address. I'll tell you a story from yesterday. I had a client call. He said, here's the deal. I applied for all these places and got denied. And this is what I found out. I found out that I got a virtual address. I asked the guy if it was a real physical address. He told me yes. It ended up being a UPS box. So because I got that UPS box, I got denied. Then the accounts that approved me didn't report any of my information. He's in a mess because he used an address that was a PO box or a UPS address. Lenders know this. In our technology, we have the same checks that lenders use that will tell me immediately, is this home address, PO box, is this UPS address, or real business address? If you don't have a business address, in a lot of cases, if you're applying for funding or business credit, they're going to immediately know this and immediately deny you. So it's one thing to make sure that your information is congruent. It's also another thing to make sure that the information that you're putting on there is reflective that you're a credible business, which means a physical address. Now, again, I recommend a company called Regus, R-E-G-U-S. They offer virtual addresses. So if you want to have the legitimacy of a really big, powerful company without spending all the money to obtain a big physical address, well, then you could easily get a virtual address where you just get your mail there. You use that on applications, all your important documents, and you kind of get the best of both worlds. You don't have to pay for an expensive office, but you get the perception that you are in a big office. So some lenders, again, are not going to approve you unless you actually meet this criteria. So you must use a business phone number, not a home phone or cell phone. This is big. If you use a home phone or cell phone, chances are very good you're going to get flagged. When you get flagged as unestablished. Anybody that pulls your business credit sees that you're unestablished. It is a bad deal. You don't want to do it. You should also use a toll-free number unless you're some kind of local business only type place like a hair salon or a pizza shop. You should have a fax number. Nowadays, you can go to Ring Central and get a phone number for like 15 bucks or something like that. And it can also be your fax number. So they could be one and the same. Voice over IP numbers are okay. I know Google has them. I know Ring Central has them. There's a lot of voice over IP options. These are okay. You just can't use personal lines like cell phones or home phones. You'll need to get in contact with the state, county, and city government to make sure that any required licenses and permits that you need, you actually have. Do not apply if you are unlicensed when you should be, okay? Because again, they know this. If you don't have the proper licenses or registrations, especially if you're applying for business loans, this is a reason that will absolutely get you denied. So take the time to verify that the main agency, state, IRS, bank, 411, have your business listed exactly the same way using your exact business legal name. Also take the time to ensure every bill you have, power bill, phone bill, landlord, has the business name listed exactly the same way. These are other places that they will go to look for this data. So let's dive in now and talk a little bit about business listings. So the first part, we kind of dove in to talk about the right information. This is the right information that you're going to need listed. Now we're going to dive in and spend some time talking about other places you should be listed, because these are places that a lot of credit issuers and lenders are looking for to see if you are listed. If I take a little pause, excuse me, I'm just grabbing a little drink of water. So you'll need to make sure that your business is easy to find, okay? And when this happens, it gives you more credibility, and in turn, it just makes you more lendable, okay? Because if you think about this, the bigger you are, aren't you easier to find? Like if you just started your business today, you can't go to Yellow Pages or almost anywhere and find your company. But if your company's been open 10 years, you accidentally get listed in a lot of the places. So again, the more established a company is, the more listings that they naturally have, which is one of the reasons that credit issuers and lenders look so highly at this standard. So besides 411 and your Secretary of State, there are other places that you should be listed to gain credibility. The Better Business Bureau is one organization that's looked at often for information about your company. Okay, listing there makes you more credible with customers, as well as easy to find for credit issuers and lenders. Okay, after 1 year, you can even pay for accreditation. Look, this is the way the BBB is, and I won't get into a debate about whether this is good or bad, but I will tell you that the BBB, you buy your grade. If you go in and you give them 500 bucks to get accredited, they're going to give you an A+. It's just the way that it is. You can even get complaints and still have an A+. I'm not saying you can go hog wild and start ripping people off. That'll obviously be a problem, but they will keep you A+ as long as they physically can, because you're paying them and they want to make sure you continue to pay them. So you can pay for accreditation after you've been in business for a year. But even if you're in business less than a year, you still should approach the BBB and get them your company's information, so when someone searches, they see that you actually have a profile and score. Now, alert, big time alert. If you are somebody that's in a high-risk industry such as credit repair, you might be careful here. You might not even approach them until you've been in business a year or longer, because they'll give you a bad grade in a lot of cases immediately, even if you have no complaints. Okay, and I'll do a whole other webinar some other day to teach you how to get around that. But I can tell you real simple that in that case, the reason is because they usually assess you with an upfront fee organization. And if you contact them and let them know you don't charge upfront, you can usually get that waived. Okay, I used to own a credit improvement company. We had an A rating without paying for it because we proved to them that we didn't charge upfront. And as a result, we got that reversed. So be careful. High risk industry, you might get a bad grade just by contacting them and getting listed. But if you're not in a high risk industry, this is something you should do, because a lot of sources look right there at Better Business Bureau. So the Yellow Pages is also a great place that you should be listed. The most popular sources are YP.com, Superpages.com, and Yellow Book. Okay, these are 3 sources that you really should consider going to. And again, these are free. Okay, these won't even cost you any money to get listed. And again, hey, it's the Yellow Pages, right? So it's not going to hurt you there, because you're just going to make it easier for people to find you. But here's the deal. the lenders and credit issuers use algorithms that also check these sources to see if they can locate your business. And again, this is why the congruency matters, because if you're putting something on the application, you need to make sure their computers can go out and search that exact same information for the company name you put on the app and find you in these type of sources. So YP.com, Super Pages, and Yellow Book are three of the most popular Yellow Pages that they look at that you should get listed in. So get listed, and I put both because I added a third here to make sure that you're easy to find. You can also use a service that's growing in popularity named as Yellow Bot to get listed. Okay, Google offers a service called Google My Business also beyond that. So I guess I should go back up. Yellow Bot, these are the main Yellow Pages type services. YP.com, superpages.com, Yellow Book, and Yellow Bot. So all of those are great places that are Yellow Page type formats that you really want to consider getting listed with. Another one is offered by Google. It's called Google My Business, and it provides a free listing with Google, which, let's be honest, why wouldn't you want to have that? Google's the most utilized search engine in the world, and they're giving you an opportunity to list your business for free. And you definitely want to do this, not just because the big lenders and credit issuers look at these type of places, but because anybody that's searching Google would rather produce a result on their own page than anybody else's. So just by getting listed with Google My Business, you automatically make yourself easier to find when anybody Googles you, including potential customers. So again, this makes you easier to find when someone searches you or your industry in Google, lenders, credit issuers, and prospects included in that bundle. So Bing is another widely used search engine that you should be listed with. I think they're the actually second most used search engine. So Bing offers a service named Bing Places for Business that's free to use and get set up. Costs you nothing. Okay. As a matter of fact, I think there's only one service here that you actually have to pay for, and I'll tell you exactly how much that stuff costs and how to get it for free as we progress. So Bing Places for Business, just like Google's, okay, except it's for Bing, and this is free, someplace where a lot of people search, including lenders and credit issuers. And as you can with Google, you can put in lots of information about your company. You can include photos, you can include videos. So, I mean, it's kind of like a Facebook page, like for your business on Bing or Google that's specific to Bing or Google. So that's really what you want to do. You want to take advantage of these because it really gives you good perception. If you put a lot of details, a lot of keywords about your business, videos, if you're putting pictures, then Google and Bing want to send people there. So if somebody comes and searches your website or searches your company name, well then if they're searching for it on Bing, Bing would rather them see one of the top results being their own basically places for business with your business. It promotes their places for business, it promotes your business. So we want to make sure you do this because it really is, you know, just free exposure from the biggest search engine out there, including Yahoo. Yahoo's the third most popular search engine. They have something called Yahoo Local Listing. And with Yahoo Local Listing, you could do much of the same thing. Set up a whole page for your business with all the details, with videos, with everything to really give yourself a really good perception, be where credit issuers and lenders are looking, and also give yourself some free exposure with the three biggest search engines. So Yelp is a great place to be found, especially by customers, not as much for lenders and credit issuers. They will look at Yelp. They don't look at Yelp as much as the other sources I've listed, but a great place for free exposures for customers. Merchant Circle is a popular online directory that you should be listed at also because it's often used by credit issuers. Okay, so Merchant Circle is one of those that you really should consider because with Merchant Circle, this actually is widely looked at by credit issuers and lenders. Okay, and on top of that, Manta is an online directory that receives over 30 million unique visitors monthly and one of Inc.'s fastest growing companies. And they are really starting to become very popular with lenders and credit issuers. So you really want to consider also getting listed with Manta as well, because they're, again, not only commonly used by lenders and credit issuers, but they're also commonly used by customers that are looking for just, you know, more basic information about your business. So definitely some good sources that you really want to consider getting listed at, especially if they're for free, if they're free. Okay. And I think I just brought up Yelp, and I think this is a repeat of a couple of the other ones I just did. City Search, MapQuest, Local.com. Some other sources you should consider getting listed with, they're all free also. Not only are these used by credit issuers and lenders, okay, but again, this is very valuable to actually help you get new customers. Express Update. Now, this is a service used by the top internet search engines, okay? So it accounts for about 98% of all US searches. So Express Update is one that's important. 85% of large public libraries, okay, are using Express Update. Okay, it's the leading in car navigation system is where they get their information from. So it's important to also get listed with them. Express Update is often used by credit issuers and lenders, but again, man, this is widely used. I mean, it's the biggest in car navigation. It's used in public libraries. It's used in 98% of all US searches that take place tap into Express Update. So it's so important that it cannot be neglected. It's a place you definitely want to make sure that you're listed. Another one is Dex Knows. Okay, it's also become another popular online directory. It allows you a free online listing and also a way for you to track how your customers engage your profile. So it really allows you to kind of track your online reputation. And nowadays, that's what matters. And I guess fundamentally, that's what we're talking about here. There's really not much more important than your online reputation, really, because nowadays it's so hard to hide things if you do things bad or you're running a non-legitimate company. And this is why lenders and credit issuers look so favorably and so highly on what they find with business listings, because you can't hide it. Okay, I had some Yahoo put a complaint about us, and it took me a lot of time and money to have it buried intentionally in Google because the guy was like crazy. And it happens in every business you have. You're going to have Yahoos and crazy and even competitors that will try to trash your reputation online. And you always need to make sure that you're Googling your name, making sure that you're keeping up with your online reputation. And a good way to do that is exactly what we're talking about here, because once you start getting listed with all these places like Express Update and YP.com, then when someone searches your business, they start finding all of these listings that I'm telling you about here because they have so much precedent. Like one I just mentioned had 30 million unique visitors a month. Well, how many does your website have? It's nowhere close to 30 million, right? So that's why that's going to pull up early in the search engine, sometimes even over your own, because they have so many hits. It has so much precedent with Google, with Bing, with Yahoo. So this is the reason that you need to make sure you're listed in these places, because the bigger they are, the more popular they are, the more widely used they are, then the more pull they have in Google, Yahoo, Bing. And when somebody uses those search engines to find you, they're going to find these sources, which again gives you credibility, especially when it comes to lenders and credit issuers. So the Business Journals is a local listing. It has 4 levels of service. Okay, they have like levels you'll pay for, and they also have free levels. Okay, each service option displays your listing in the directory, but the more you pay, the more opportunities you have to receive targeted traffic. So free listing is all we care about for the purpose of this webinar, right? We don't care about stuff you pay for, but might as well as bring it up because you actually could pay them and get more targeted traffic. It kind of works like almost an advertising medium there for you too. Okay, and they've got about 8 million monthly searchers that have an average income of 100 grand nearly. So, you know, this is pretty good. I mean, you're getting in front of other business owners that have about 100 grand an average income a year. They've got 8 million people there. Might be worth it for you to invest and actually do some of the advertising through their bronze, silver, and gold. But even if you don't, get listed for free, because again, this is another place that's commonly used by lender issuers and credit issuers and lenders. And 84% of their searchers shop online. So especially if you're selling your products online. So Hotfrog is a free online directory whose aim is to help you get your website listed in Google search results. You can even create coupons to incentivize your customers. Okay, Foursquare is one that, man, used to be really popular, used to hear a lot of, but it still is widely used. It's a popular business directory, also a popular social networking site, and customers can check in and comment on your business. So this is one of the most common things that Foursquare is known for, is that people will go to an actual business and check in on Foursquare. So this is one of the most common things. If you're familiar with Foursquare but not really familiar, that's how you've probably heard from them before. You can even connect your Twitter handler so visitors can tweet you. Okay, so there's a lot of cool, things. I mean, yes, a lot of these are directories, and as you can see, the main purpose of me telling you about these is so you can get approved for credit and loans, right? That's my main priority, is to help make it easy for anybody that wants access to money to be able to get it. But there's a second benefit here of being able to use some of these services even free to be able to promote your business, to be able to better engage your customers. Okay, you can also add a map to people to check in on your business location. This is just another way you can engage your customers on top of getting exposure with credit issuers and with lenders. So Dun & Bradstreet, if you're not familiar with D&B, Dun & Bradstreet's the biggest business credit reporting agency in the world. They have about 10 times more records on file of businesses than their next closest reporting agency, which is Experian. Okay, so they are the biggest player in the business data world and in the business credit building world. So going through them direct to help you get listed in many places at once obviously is a great idea. They're kind of the kings when it comes to business data. So going to them to have your data listed makes a lot of sense. Okay, and they make it easy and free to do using their verified service. Okay, and verified is all caps. That's their actual trademark name of it. And you can get it right here on their website, D&B.com. That's D, the word A-N-D, B.com at /verified. So that's D like David, the word and, be like boy.com /verified. And you can get your company listed for free with D&B right there on their website. So with the service, they'll actually verify your business info and social networking accounts such as Facebook, Twitter, and Foursquare through an independent third-party verification process. Okay, they also help build your business credibility with access to a real-time verified business report. Okay, that's actually provided and verified by D&B. And you can distribute your business data and reach up to 90% of U.S. consumers through their network of local search platforms, mobile apps, navigation solutions, and more. I mean, they are everywhere. So by getting put in with D&B, by getting verified with D&B, then they can list you everywhere. Now, don't get me wrong, right? Because this is an exchange. It's an exchange. I mean, you're giving D&B your info because they want your info. They want you to be listed with them because they sell that data. They, give people access to their Hoover system where they could search businesses like you and find you. So this kind of stuff makes you more susceptible to reach marketing because you're putting your name in these type of places, but then you also get the side benefit of actually attracting customers that are looking to do business with you. And there's really no privacy here because, in the business world, we don't care about privacy. We want everybody to have our information to make us easy to find. It's not as if this is people getting us as information as us being consumers. So if you're a veteran-owned business, they'll verify your veteran ownership for free and help your business reach people who prefer to buy from a veteran. So actually, they do offer, as I'm about to tell you, services that you can pay for through Verified that are free if you're a veteran. So there's a lot of benefits if you're a veteran and you actually get with them on this verification service. So their premium service will also verify your D&B Credibility review profile, and you can view and share your online verification information. So not only can you see all the info they have, you can even share it, which just makes you look more credible because it's D&B. So plus you can verify your critical business information with them, and you can receive a virtual badge to place on your website. Okay, and they'll distribute this data to a network of over 125 online platforms: Google, Apple, Bing, AOL, Yellow Pages, and more. So it's kind of like everything I've told you to this point, you can do through this D&B verification service if you're willing to pay. The free service doesn't provide all these benefits, and you get a bunch of other cool stuff. You get a D&B verified badge. You get all this other access. They send out your information to all these other platforms. They kind of control your online reputation for you if you're willing to pay them for that. Okay, and here's actually a graph from their website of the verified service. So you can see that it's free to get the business reports, the critical business info, the social verification. Their $599 plan. You also get the sticker, certification, and badge. You get their Hoover's direct submit data distribution. Now, Hoover's is like, it's a service you pay for from D&B where you can find like any business. It's like a lead generation system. It's kind of like Info USA where you pay for data. Well, that's exactly what Hoover's is. So Hoover's makes all this information available for anybody that's looking for it. Then they have an $8.99 service that'll give you that and the Hoover's direct submit plus data distribution, okay, where they go to the 125 sources. And if you're a veteran, it's all free. So they even give you the verified badge that you are a veteran's verified badge, which kind of lists you as a veteran. So guys, that's pretty cool because I'm a veteran, right? So anybody that served their country, I think should be rewarded. And I think this is pretty cool from D&B to make it free for anybody that's a veteran to get all these services, but to still even make the basic services available for free. And then if you want to get one of the plus or premium, you also can. So the D&B verification is free, but for some of the many benefits, again, they will charge you $5.99 to $8.99 unless you are a veteran, and then it is free, which is pretty cool from them. So it's essential that your business is visible. Okay, when you're brand new, this is even more important, especially when you're trying to get approved for new credit loans. Look, we help a lot of people come in and get business credit loans, even as they're just starting a brand new business. So what I'm teaching you now is extremely important if you are a new business within the first 5 years, because again, as you're open 10 or 15 or 20 years, some of this stuff naturally kind of happens. You kind of naturally get listed at some of these places, but when you're brand new, you're not. So if they go looking, they're not going to find you unless you intentionally put yourself out there. But the other big reason you'll want to be visible, again, as we talked about, is to get new business. Not only will taking these steps make you more credible and thus more lendable, but taking these steps also gives you tons of free advertising, helping you bring in even more customers. Look, I don't know how you are, but I'm a to-do list guy. And if I'm watching this right now or listening to this through iTunes, then what I'm going to do is make a list of all the sources that I told you today, because they're all free. Every one of them offers a free service, and make sure that you take time over the next few weeks to get listed with every single one of these sources for 2 reasons. First of all, once you do it, it's done. It's not like you need to keep coming back and doing it again and again. Once you put your info out there, it's done. You're listed. Not to mention that it's going to reap you major rewards as other people are finding you and you're getting new business, as well as credit issuers and lenders giving you approval. So make sure that your business is set up using these online directories. And most important, ensure all of your business information is the same across all of these directories, helping ensure that you're an easier candidate to approve. And remember, many times you can get approved automatically if you meet these type of requirements that the lender has. So making sure that you get your data done the right way, as we talked about in the beginning of the show, and in the right directories, as we talked about in the end of the show, are absolutely essential, especially if you're looking for more automated approval. Being visible and credible are some of these fundamental requirements of getting approved with these lenders and credit issuers. Okay, and again, I often revert back to starting to build business credit. And this is what I say: when you start to build business credit, you're not supplying your social security number. They cannot pull your personal credit. You don't have any credit established for your EIN. So you're not giving them much to look at. They can't look at your personal credit. You have no business credit. So everything that's on your application becomes critical for you to get approved for initial business credit. It's just so important. And that's why we talk about the address getting listed the right way, getting listed with 411, having the EIN, making sure they can search your name, and making sure that there's all kinds of listings, because automated systems and manually, these are signs that you're established. They're signs that you're credible. And those are really the keys to getting approved for credit and financing, especially when you're talking about initial business credit when you have none yet established. So I hope you enjoyed this. Again, I told you I was going to keep it about 35 minutes. I think we've done so. You got a lot of hopefully good quality information about exactly where to go to get listed. If nothing else, you walked out of here and discovered the D&B Verified service, which go with their free service. It's so fantastic to make sure that they have your information, because even with their free service, they'll then send that to multiple sources and help you get listed. And if you want to pay for their premium services, you can. But everything I told you today, at least you can get in on the free services, even if you choose to not do the paid services for some of those that provide it. So again, if you need any more information about getting approved for business credit, getting approved for financing, feel free to reach out to us. 877-600-2487, info@creditsuite.com. And don't forget to grab your free guide on building your business credit at creditsuite.com/EIN. I know your time is valuable. I really appreciate you joining me on the show today. I hope you got a lot of good, valuable information about it. Got into lender and credit issuers' heads to find out exactly what they're looking for and where they're looking for it, so you can make sure that you set up the right profile in the right places to stand the best chance at getting approved. Thanks everybody very much for taking the time to join us today. I hope you all have a great day. Thanks everybody. Be well.